Welcome to Pottstown Butterflies 30th anniversary. I'm Ron Ryle. This is 344 West Beach Street in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. You're looking at one of the oldest butterfly habitats in the United States, urban habitats, that is for sure. The habitat's 30 years old. It's very unique, and there's no habitat like this one in Pennsylvania. Hoping to show you a good time today. I'm here with my neighbor, Marla Schmidt, and also her nickname is Pua. I'll probably call her Pua the rest of the way. So we're going to start out here with our milkweed patch. This is a backup area for the monarch butterfly. The habitat has a monarch slant to it because we study the monarch migration. That's a big thing for me. I give a lot of speeches on the migration, and it's near and dear to my heart. They found one of my butterflies in Mexico. It went 2,038 miles. So this is important to have this extra milkweed. That's the plant they lay eggs on. This is the common milkweed here with the large leaves. And over here is swamp milkweed with the small leaves. You'll see more of that in the backyard. There's 40 milkweeds here. This year we're lucky we have 400 milkweeds on the property. So when we get to the backyard, there's a lot more milkweed. The other milkweed that's native to Pennsylvania is this Asclepias tuberosa. It has an orange flower on it. That's also a milkweed. So those are the three native milkweeds. So we're going to move on now to another area here. My assistant has just instructed me that I forgot to mention that the milkweed is the host plant for the monarch butterfly. That means it lays eggs on that. No milkweed, no monarch, so they would become extinct. Now we're standing in front of one of the nectar flowers. Nectar flower has sugar in it. So this is one of the plants that the butterflies would take nectar from. You'll see a cabbage butterfly down the way. This is called Conclinium colistinum. It's wild ageratum. It grows in the wild north of Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania. It is a native. It's a breakthrough. It's the only big change we've made in 30 years. All the butterflies like it. So what a tremendous plant. Likes water, grows along the creek. We have trenches built in here to hold the water. There's stones laying in the trenches. It needs to be retrenched next year. This was started from 20 plugs, and we have 50 plants in there this year. We couldn't have a better bed. It blooms in late August, early September, and today is August 17th, I believe, and it's already blooming, and it's just a wonderful plant to have. We have 2 butterflies on it right now here. So every butterfly likes it. It's the number 4 nectar plant for the butterflies to eat from. This is the painted lady butterfly. It has 5 eyes on the side, including 2 blue ones. They're kind of hard to see. There's another butterfly called the American painted lady that has 2 large eyes. So this is the painted lady. So there is a difference. There's 2 different species that are here in Pennsylvania. And it's on Buddleia, butterfly bush. This is butterfly bush here. These were all grown from sticks. We don't buy them. We cut them off at the end of the year in November and cut a stick off. We're actually going to demonstrate it for you. I went 6 for 6 here. I usually sell them. I've been sick for 2 years. I haven't had a chance to have a plant sale. I have 14 medical conditions. I'm still going. So anyway, here's some more of the orange milkweed here, Asclepias tuberosa, for the monarch to lay eggs on. Over here is a couple of swamp milkweeds, some more milkweed for the monarch to lay eggs on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you, can you hold this and then? Yep. How to do this, how to do the sticks. We're going to cut this off here to take the stress off the plant, also to shape it. And this is going to be a gorgeous plant. It's really bushy. And one more cut. And this one right here, we're just going to rip this one off like that. And we're going to stick it in the ground right over here and throw some water on it. So this stick here is cut off on an angle. We want to get it into the ground here. We're doing it too early. You want to do it around November. In the fall, November 1st, you can do it. We're going to stick it all the way in. More. And then now Pua's going to dump some water on there. I'm going to break this one off here. This will be a beautiful bush. It has a lot of stems on it. It may not live though because we're doing it a couple months too early here. So that's how you grow butterfly bush from a stick. And we have 40 butterfly bushes on the premises, and I would say 35 of them are grown from sticks. Here I went 6 for 6. These are 2 years old, these white ones. And I forgot to show you some of the pictures on the blue mist that I talked about, the wild ageratum. The top butterfly is the checkered skipper. It's only a ½ inch in size. Comes out the first week of September. This is the buckeye here on the blue mist on the wild ageratum. And here's the orange sulfur. So I wanted to have you folks see that and see all the different butterflies you can bring in with that plant. Our next plant is the host plant for the variegated fritillary. It's passion flower, another native plant, has a nice flower on it. I was fortunate enough to raise a variegated fritillary, actually 3 of them off this plant, and I'd like to show you the photos on those. This is what the variegated looks like. It's actually chocolate on the other side. Wings closed, it's orange, it's chocolate on the other side. The chrysalis is amazing, it's copper and gold. I don't know how much it's worth. What do you think? Take it down to High Street, see what we can get for it. I really was lucky to have these caterpillars to raise for the variegated. So much for the passion flower, a native plant. Our next plant is the spice bush tree, Benzoin lindera. The spice bush swallowtail lays eggs on this. We've had 2 butterflies born off this tree this year. A lot of my plants are over 25 years old. This is one of them. It's close to 30 years. They die out in the center. There's nothing you can do about it. They like damp. Water lays between the houses. This year we had the dry spell, which messed up the butterfly cycle, and the population of butterflies is really way down because of that. This is what the butterfly looks like. This is the female spice bush swallowtail right here. They have eggshell cups. 6 butterflies look the same. 6 butterflies look the same. This has the eggshell cups. There's 6 black butterflies that are similar. Here's the caterpillar for the spice bush swallowtail on the tree. It's a beautiful caterpillar. So that's another host plant, and it's a native as well. What we're going to cover next are the plants that the butterflies take nectar from. Nectar, sugar water, that's what they eat. This is the #1 attractor. We call this the anchor plant. Verbena bonariensis. Has no other name, just that name. There's no common name for it. So Verbena bonariensis, this year it was responsible for 2 rare butterflies on our property, the cross-line skipper and the broad-winged skipper, which gives us a lifetime total now of 60 species here in the city. Butterflies don't like to come to the city. Pottstown is 60% concrete, asphalt, and buildings. So we don't have a lot of extra host plants roaming around like you would out in the country. It's a lot easier to bring the butterflies in. So this is the #1 attractor. All the butterflies like it. Next we're going to do right next to us here, a butterfly bush. This is the pink delight right here. It's the #2 attractor. All the butterflies like it as well. We cut it back in season at the top. You can see that. We've already cut it back a foot. What we're getting ready for is the migration of the monarch. Approximately around September 1st, it's going to start. And this will be our backup plant. So we're going to have a second bloom up at the top especially. It's been cut on the sides as well. I did save some. So we're trying for a second bloom, and that worked out really good over the years. Last year's migration was down. We saw 626 here. This is better than Cape May. It's concentrated. I've had 3 friends go to Cape May for the migration. They didn't see anything. That's very disappointing. Well, they had a good time down there anyway, so it's a great place to visit, obviously. The next plant is right over here. Mexican sunflower. Here's one here. This is Tithonia torch. Torch is the better attractor of the bunch. It's more reddish color. Would you believe this sunflower is not a sunflower? It's in the aster family. Mexican sunflower is what they migrate on. We have 7 of them over there, 2 over there. So there's 9 on the other side. There's 4 right here. That's 13. For our 30th anniversary, we built it up to 30. We usually only have 18 plants. The butterflies, I have this on a southwest line, right like this. So when they come in, Mexico's right over that chimney over there. That's southwest. This is the launching pad right here. When we do the tagging, these stones, this is where we launch them from, and they go right over the chimney. Last year we had visitors in September, and we went 5 for 5. It was kind of a thing where the people that were here actually didn't believe it. After 4, I said, how are we doing? And when we got 5, I said, hey, pretty good. We did really good. Once in a while, they'll loop around the house there and go around the house. Route 100 does not run straight south. I don't know if you all knew that. It runs a little bit to the east. So here's south right here, and then that would be, if I had my compass out here, that's southwest. So here's where we launch them from. The migration's a big deal here.
When you release the babies, do they go immediately south too, or do they hang around and eat a little bit?
I only tag the ones from the wild, but the ones that come out of the cages when you raise them, right now I'm raising, I guess, 15. Yeah, they hang around a while to get their bearings. They go down to Mexico when the days become shorter. And I just wanted to mention the site was discovered. Do you have that?
Yes, Catalina.
The site was discovered in 1975. It was kept a secret for 1 year. Catalina Trail, formerly known as Kathy Aguado, and previously known as Kathy Brugger. That's who she married. Her and her boyfriend found the site. They worked for a professor. His name was Fred Urquhart from Canada. So the Canadians were working on it. They thought they knew where they were, and so they sent these 2 people down to find them. And then they kept it secret after they found it. And it was called the greatest ecological discovery of the 20th century. Millions of monarchs migrate in the mountains there in El Rosario, 10,000 feet up. It's like a refrigerator. That's where they found my butterfly that I tagged from Pottstown. So I really appreciate the work that they did. In 1976, it came out on the front cover of National Geographic, and then that's when the secret was over. So they kept it a secret for a whole year. Just wanted to bring that up. She's still alive. She's 74 years old. She now lives in Austin, Texas. And that's Catalina Trail. That's her new name. In summary so far, Verbena bonariensis, butterfly bush, and Mexican sunflower, all the butterflies like that. Our next plant is State Fair mixed zinnia. For our 30th anniversary, we grew a red bed, and my goodness, it's really bringing them in. The butterfly puts its straw down in this yellow part of the flower. It puts its proboscis or proboscis, however you want to say it, down in there. So do the bees. Now bees, they eat nectar and pollen both. The butterflies only do the nectar. So this is a wonderful attractor. As we head into September, this will be a really important plant for us. I think this year, September is going to be our best butterfly month. We got an awful late start with the 6 weeks of dry weather with no rain. So that's State Fair mixed zinnia. The new zinnia is now Magellan, probably the prettiest one. Has no sugar in it, does not attract a single butterfly. I'm just warning you here. State Fair, Cut and Come Again, Zinnia Profusion. Those are the ones with the sugar. So that's what you want to do there. This is our next nectar plant. I brought this in from the Susquehanna River, where I spent a couple thousand hours doing butterfly research. I've worked in the wild 3,000 hours and 22,000 hours in the backyard. This is late flowering bone set. Has a lot of sugar in it. At the river, it's the #1 attractor. And also out at the river, they have a yellow flower called wing stem, which is very good. So this blooms late, and we grow it for this one butterfly coming down. We grow the late flowering bone set to see this one butterfly the first week of September usually. It's the white M hair streak. You'll see the M down at the bottom of the wing. This butterfly, the wing was ripped and it has the royal blue on the inside. Never opens its wings except when it's flying. So I was lucky to get a damaged one to show you the royal blue. So that's the white M hair streak. It's a great sighting.
Give them an idea of how big it is.
This one is the bigger hair streak. It's just a little over a ½ inch in size. You have to be looking for it. So I'll be out here September 1st. I'll be looking for this butterfly. It's just a wonderful butterfly to have around. Here's another native plant beside the late flowering bone set. This is ironweed. It grows out in the wet meadows. Every butterfly likes it. Monarchs love it, sulfurs love it. So as you get into fall, this becomes a key plant. The Delaware skipper goes on it. You don't have to drive to Delaware to see it. You can see it right here in Pennsylvania. So that's New York ironweed. It's a native. Our next plant is Pycanthemum uticum, mountain mint. It has to be this one. This is the #1 plant for honeybees according to Penn State University 3 years ago. This plant was brought to me by Harold Lebo. We didn't know what it was. About 15 years ago, I called Penn State. We couldn't figure it out. Then I went on the Ohio State Bee website. I found it. I called Ohio State. I said, I'm Ron Ryle from Montgomery County. He says, I'm so-and-so, and I'm from Montgomery County. I'll tell you what it is. So we were able to identify it. This grows wild in every place in Pennsylvania except southeastern PA. There's 66 counties in Pennsylvania. This grows in over 60 counties in the wild. I finally got to see it at Fort Indian Town Gap. This is the #1 insect plant in Pennsylvania. Right now it's covered with honeybees.
I think it's fascinating that it has the tiniest little blossoms ever.
Yes.
They're micro blossoms. Each head has, like, what would you say, 150, 200?
Man, this thing has a powerful aroma. Powerful.
Yep.
We try to grow 1,000 of these. We're down to 600. We do our best. We have another bed over here, another bed on the other side. These beds were interrupted with these sunflowers. This one sunflower came up on March 1st. It's got a stem on it like a tree. It weighs about 30 pounds. 4 stakes are holding it up. It went through about 3 different frosts. If that falls down, it'll hurt you. The root base on it's going to weigh about 20 pounds when we pull it out. You got to use a shovel on it. These are volunteers from the birds. Sunflowers do not attract butterflies. Another monarch just came in. All right. Well, we've had about 4 monarchs for the day, and they're down like the other butterflies this year. So back to the mountain mint. Here's one reason we grow it. It is a native. It's a native. This is the olive hair streak, and this one is a 1/2 inch in size. The host plant is in the corner of our yard. It's the red cedar tree. We're lucky because people divide their properties with red cedar here, so this butterfly lives in the complex. People will drive 200 or 300 miles to see this butterfly that's in my backyard here in Pottstown. So that's the olive hair streak. That was taken this year. Here's the gray hair streak. That was a couple of weeks ago. What a nice butterfly. This is a newborn. All these hair streaks have 4 tails. See the orange on the head on this one. Very interesting butterfly. This is the gray hair streak. Last but not least, the red banded hair streak. Also we call this the magic plant. This was named by Gary Freed from Green Lane, who had 5 species of hair streaks on the magic plant this year at one time. Gary sees over 50 species a year. He's over in Green Lane. We have Lois Vidocq in Exeter Township. She sees over 50 species of butterflies a year. Poor me, I'm down in the high 40s. I can't touch it. Also, I have to mention Janice Good, the #1 monarch lady in Pennsylvania. She started here at my place. She raises off her property many times 1,000 monarchs. She raises off her 600 milkweeds on her property in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. So we have Green Lane, Exeter, and Boyertown. And those are the big 3 folks that have habitats like I do here. Although there's nothing like this one. I've been saying that for the last 5 years, but there is not one like it. So much for mountain mint. You're going to love it. It spreads nicely. You can't have too much of it. It's a native plant. The butterflies recognize it. This is our last nectar plant we're going to discuss. Again, nectar, sugar water, that's what the butterflies drink. This is giant anise hyssop. A lot of people tell me they have anise hyssop. Well, this is the giant. These seeds are 30 years old. They're from Johnny's Seed Company in Maine. This whole bed died. I had to walk around the property and find some volunteers. I was in shock. I thought we had a mild winter. This is now the best bed I've ever had. All these purple ones, I've never had that. So the bees love it. You can see that. Butterflies love it. It's just a good plant to have around. I call this the patch effect right in here. Having all these plants close together, it's like a smorgasbord. They can see it. The butterflies taste with their feet. So this brings them in, having a patch. Don't plant your plants far apart. Put them in a patch. That works like a charm. Now we're going to discuss the host plants. This is more important than the nectar. These are the plants that butterflies lay eggs on. Their life depends on finding their host plant. The first one we're going to do is pawpaw. We have 2 large pawpaw trees, very unusual. This is an undergrowth tree. You'll see it along the edge of the woods. They grow 7 to 8 feet tall. You'll see ours are about 20 feet tall. You plant them 18 feet apart. One decides to be a male, one decides to be a female, and you get the fruit. And you'll see some fruit there up on that one tree. I was working at Agway on Route 100. I was watering the pawpaw trees. A guy came by, said, "This is pawpaw." He said, "Yeah, I bought 7 of them here." I said, "Did you get the fruit?" He said, "No." I said, "Did you plant them 18 feet apart?" He said, "No, carry that one up to the counter." Here he planted them all right next to each other and never got a piece of fruit. So that was solved. You know, for $69.95, he was able to solve it after buying all those trees. Why do we grow it? The zebra swallowtail, which lives along the Susquehanna River, there's pawpaw trees out on the islands. I'm happy to report we have moved this butterfly our way by planting pawpaw. My friend Robert Nolan has 70 pawpaw trees. He had a zebra swallowtail this spring. So they usually have a big brood in July. It's not happening. We have a lot of issues with the butterflies this year, and we're not really sure why. It could be a number of things. Could even be the fire smoke we had from Canada. That might have had something to do with it, besides the dry spell. This is a beautiful butterfly. There's been 2 here over 30 years. There was one up in the pawpaw tree back in 2021. That's a zebra swallowtail. They fly like a helicopter. They have 1-inch tails. They're green and black, with a little red on them. It's a great sighting. As you drive closer to the river, if you're out in Lancaster, when you're driving around, you might see one. But we have moved them our way. It's been a 15-year project. It's been somewhat successful. Our next host plant is Dutchman's pipevine, also known as Dutchman's pipes. It has a pipe flower in the spring. The pipevine swallowtail lays eggs on this. The butterfly is endangered in our area in Pottstown. There's one small colony on the north end up by Ringing Rocks Fire Company. There's some pipevine up there. I don't know if the butterfly's still there or not. We've only had caterpillars 5 years out of 30. It's a beautiful butterfly. I want to show you that here. This is the male right here, the male pipevine swallowtail, which is iridescent. Here's another male. This was in the Reading Eagle. Lisa Scheid put it in. I raised it here 2 years ago. That was in the newspaper up in Reading, the Eagle. Here's the caterpillars. They eat 20 leaves each. They eat 20 leaves each. It's really a problem. 5 years ago, I had 151 caterpillars on this vine. I only had 1,000 leaves, so I had to call Jack at the radio station. Jack's Backyard, that's a nature show every Saturday on the Reading radio station, WEEU, 8:30 a.m. on your dial. Jack's been on there, I think about 15 years on the nature show. He's been on the radio like 61 or 62 years, which is the United States record. He's quite the broadcaster. It's a great show. It's a call-in. Birds, butterflies, bobcats, bears, you name it. Yeah, I saw a bobcat at French Creek. It was a nice experience on the rocks. Anyway, that's on every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
So he helped you find homes for all the extra caterpillars?
Yeah, so what happened, we had that emergency open house. Jack announced it on the radio. 86 people showed up. Most of them were from Berks County. We passed out the caterpillars to people that had pipe vines. Here's the female. She's darker. She's not iridescent, so that's what she looks like. And I raised this one here too. Here's a whole bunch of caterpillars. And what happens here, they're cannibals. We went to lunch, we came back. We had about a half a leaf back, so they eat each other when they run out of food. So these guys they're voracious. They grow to 2 inches. They're fun to play with. They're like real gooey, like what's that candy called? You can buy a... Gummy worm. Yeah, like the gummy worms. I love playing with these guys. And that's, here's the pipevine eggs here. She lays them in clusters. There's about 20 eggs in this cluster right here. Once there was one here flying around. It takes her 45 minutes to decide. She lays them out on these runners like this here. On the runner, she goes around for 45 minutes. Carol and I went to lunch at Three Cousins Diner. We came back, she was still flying around the pipevine. And she finally put them down, 3 batches. Really, she was really a good egg layer, and we had a lot of fun with that. So much, that's the pipevine swallowtail. Hope you'll plant Dutchman's pipevine and help me save this butterfly. When I first started doing this, it was all about attracting butterflies. That's my expertise. Now it's about conservation. It just changed over the years. At the very beginning, I just wanted to see a butterfly. In fact, the first year, I didn't even see a butterfly. My neighbor used to make fun of me over here. He's since passed away. Wonderful neighbor. I planted these 3 butterfly bushes, and he said, you're missing something, the butterflies. I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I am. This is our next host plant for the black swallowtail. This is fennel. Black swallowtails lay eggs on fennel, parsley, rue, dill, Queen Anne's lace. So it's a very common butterfly because it has a lot of different plants it uses, where some of the butterflies only use the one plant. So the female black swallowtail, this was just taken this week. I've been working on getting the wings open for 5 years. Finally got lucky. This is a newborn female black swallowtail. Technically, it's the eastern black swallowtail. And then the male has the yellow bands. The male has the yellow bands. There's the male. This is what I call a fabricated photo. This is something you would see in Birds and Blooms. This butterfly was born here. I stuck it on a flower. That's what you see in the magazines. Most of my stuff is not fabricated. It's the real deal. So much for fennel. Our next plant's right here beside us. This is Senna. This is a critical plant. Carl Gardner, my mentor, lepidopterist from Fleetwood in Berks County. He talked about this on the radio. Jack interviewed him last year. There's a lot of senna in Berks County. They have plenty of senna. The cloudless sulfur, the big sulfur, lives down the shore. You see the big green one and a big yellow one. They're here now. They lay eggs on this. And also, the sleepy orange butterfly lays eggs on it. This is an uncommon butterfly in the city. A lot of my friends said, you'll never see one in Pottstown. I said, follow me. I got senna. Here's a sleepy orange at our house on the Mexican sunflower. I had the pleasure of raising 3 of these off the senna. I saw the butterfly laying the eggs, and these were green eggs. They're hard to find. Caterpillars are green, and they're hard to find. So anyway, the sleepy orange, it's a sulfur, and it's one of the best sightings you could possibly have in your butterfly habitat. Swamp milkweed not only is what the monarchs lay eggs on, when it's blooming, it's a great nectar flower. So this is the swamp milkweed here. It's a male monarch. I just saw the black dots on the bottom 2 wings. Notice how bright the color is. The last batch of monarchs is a brighter color. They don't mate, they fly straight to Mexico. I think this one's not going there yet. But if the butterfly mates, it lives 4 to 6 weeks, and that monarch would die here in Pennsylvania. So the ones that don't mate, that go down for migration, they overwinter as a butterfly for 7 to 8 months. 3rd week of March, they fly from the roosting site to Texas. They mate, they lay eggs on the milkweed. That generation of monarchs comes to Pennsylvania. 2 years ago, I saw a monarch on April 21st, possibly a Pennsylvania record. Would you believe I was golfing and I hit it in the rough at Hickory Valley? I hardly ever go in the rough, but there I was, a female monarch, April 21st, right beside my foot. I couldn't believe it. It was worth hitting the ball over there in the boondocks. I had a hard time getting out of there, actually. This is rue, a host plant for the giant swallowtail. The black swallowtail uses it as well. The giant swallowtail, we used to have to drive to Center County to go see it. It also lays eggs on prickly ash. There's a lot of prickly ash up there. It's on the Fish and Boat Commission property right next to Rockview Penitentiary. So next time you're up there going to the penitentiary, you can see the butterfly. Well, whatever. We've all been growing rue around here. We've been able to move the butterfly to our area. The giant swallowtail has expanded its range. Here's one I raised. It's just the opposite of the tiger swallowtail. It's reverse colors. It's black with the yellow stripes. So this is the giant. Here's one I raised. Here's the underside. Still drying off. I had it up on a stick. It takes about 3 hours for a butterfly to dry off, 2 to 3 hours. They drop a fluid, and then they dry, then they can fly. So they can't fly at the beginning. This is the giant swallowtail, Pennsylvania's largest butterfly. It's about 5 inches on the wingspan, roughly. So plant rue and get the giant swallowtail to come to your house. We haven't seen one all year. We're worried. Nobody that I know has seen one. There's 150 people on my email list. Nobody's had a giant, so we're all kind of disappointed. We still have a long ways to go. September could be our month. This is our last host plant we're going to discuss. This is the tulip poplar. The tiger swallowtail lays eggs on this. Also lays eggs on cherry trees. So this is a common butterfly. It's yellow and black, and the female is blue on the bottom. So this is the tiger swallowtail. So that's our last host plant. Now we're going to head over to the fruit station. 8 butterflies prefer fruit. This is our fruit station. Rotten bananas have a lot of sugar. The more rotten, the more sugar. It's the best of the between the apples and the watermelon. Rotten apples and fresh watermelon. 8 butterflies prefer fruit. I'm going to show you some photos. There was a question mark butterfly here earlier. Had a question mark on the side, but it's gone. They usually come out around 4 o'clock and 10 a.m. They don't like a lot of sun for some reason, but they're some of the prettiest butterflies, so I'll show you that next. This is the morning cloak butterfly right here on the rotten banana. The morning cloak is iridescent. It's purple, brown when it changes color in the sun. This is the red admiral on a rotten banana here. This is a nice shot of the red admiral. They're kind of hard to photograph. So there's 2 of your fruit eaters right there. This is the tawny emperor butterfly on the rotten banana. That was taken this year. It's a good sighting. Most people have never seen one. This is the female tawny emperor. Up here is the hackberry butterfly on the apple. Here's another morning cloak eating fruit juice. Here's the question mark butterfly on rotten banana with its wings open, right here. And here's a red admiral this year on the banana. So the fruit-eating butterflies are very, very pretty, and you want to keep your fruit in the shade. And these butterflies come out around 9, 10 a.m. They come back around 4 p.m. So those are the fruit-eating butterflies in Pennsylvania. Also this year we got credit for the first eastern-eyed click beetles taking nectar in the wild. Sent this up to Penn State. This thing's 2 inches long, and they said that they have fed them in captivity vegetable juice and fruit juice, but this is the first photo they've seen of one taking nectar in the wild. So that was kind of a nice experience. I want to thank Mike Scarvola for all the work he's done on identifying all these different insects. Over here is the hanging thief robber fly. I thought was a wasp. Every time I email him, I'm embarrassed. I said to him, "What kind of wasp is this?" He said, "It's the hanging thief robber fly." So anyway, those are some of the rare insects we get here in the backyard. Also wanted to mention today, the last colony of the Regal fritillary lives in Pennsylvania at Fort Indiantown Gap. It's the last known colony of Regals east of the Mississippi, guarded by the soldiers, also discovered by one of the National Guard soldiers. It's open 3 days in July to go see. The Nature Conservancy has an office there. There's 2 Pennsylvania biologists that work there, and they had 1,000 butterflies to start with, and the last I knew they're up to 5,000. They're doing a marvelous job. The host plant, the reason they live there, they lay eggs on violets. There's 11,000 violets on the base. The military base is 17,000 acres, only 800 acres for the butterfly, an open area. And they do ambush training there. It really gets loud. I had the pleasure several years ago walking around with Major Yearwood. I love to support our military, and I thank them for everything. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this today. So keep doing a good job up there. Yeah, this is the tag right here. 3M Company makes it. And this particular one, the code on it is AGMJ 706. Monarch Watch. They're based in Lawrence, Kansas. They do the research on the monarch butterfly since 1992. I started with them in 2002. So we're going to put this tag on the discal cell. Thanks, Pua. It's the, this is a small monarch, by the way. It is a male. It has the 2 dots right here. It has the 2 dots. So those are the sperm ducts. That's a male monarch butterfly. So we're going to stick this back here on the largest cell, which is right there. And not too tight, not too loose, as they say. We got it on there. 3M is Minnesota Mines and Manufacturing. They're the leaders in the world in adhesives, and they're based in Minnesota. You probably saw their golf tournament a couple weeks ago. This monarch's not going to Mexico, but we wanted to do this for demonstration. This is the only butterfly you can touch like this. The other butterflies will disintegrate. This butterfly is very worn. I can see it's been in the rain. It's faded. It's pretty fragile. So we're going to let it go here any second. So we'll just stick it down here and we'll say so long. And we didn't go to the launching pad because it's not going to Mexico. So this is a monarch egg on the milkweed. The egg is not round, it's oblong. This will be a caterpillar in 4 days. The first 2 days you can't see the caterpillar because they're too small. It's almost like a chemical reaction. You get a hole in the leaf. And you might be able to see this egg sticking out. It's not round, it's oblong. So this is the milkweed leaf. And of course that is the plant the monarch depends on for its life. So there you have, there's an egg. We're going to do caterpillars next and then the chrysalis. Yeah, this is the monarch caterpillars. There's 4 on here eating milkweed. This one here you can see he's chomping away, see him moving around. They're all different sizes. We have to get up early in the morning, we water the Mexican sunflower every day. We take the bottom limbs off, give them a dose of cow manure. That keeps them going. So there's your monarch caterpillars. Here's 2 little ones on this side. They're really eating a lot here. I mean, sometimes they rest and don't eat much. I think all 4 of these are eating at the same time. Very unusual. Very unusual to have 4 in one leaf, actually. So if you see a caterpillar on milkweed, you know it's a monarch. If you see a caterpillar on parsley, you know it's a black swallowtail. So you don't even have to have a picture of it to show me. So if you see them on the milkweed, it's the monarch caterpillar. You'll notice that I don't punch holes in my containers for my caterpillars or my chrysalis, or the chrysalis or the eggs. These caterpillars are hermetic. They don't need oxygen. Same with the chrysalis. And you can grow them in these opaque containers. I'm going to get 2 that are in the chrysalis. They're hanging on the roof here. The monarch chrysalis is, they're easy. The monarch caterpillar is easy to raise compared to other ones. You don't need a stick. They go right to the roof and make their chrysalis easy as pie. Okay.
Are you going to say anything?
Yeah. What we have here are 2 monarchs in the chrysalis. You'll notice the gold trim with the jade. You'll be able to see the wings if we get a good shot here. You'll actually see the wings inside the chrysalis. These are about, I would say, 2 or 3 days away from becoming butterflies. It takes them 2 to 3 hours to dry. They drop a red fluid. We have a towel down in the bottom of the container to catch the fluid. If we don't have that, they can drown in their own fluid. They'll never be able to fly. So this is the monarch chrysalis. So we have 2 getting ready to become butterflies in the next 2 or 3 days. And the jade and the gold, it's very pretty. Here, I'll try to show you the gold. Can you see the gold there now? Yeah. So they have that gold up at the top. So that's the monarch butterfly. Here's a poster with our lifetime sightings here in the city of Pottstown. We're up to 60 now with the addition of the crossline skipper and the broadwing skipper. Those are new for this year. I don't know of a year I've ever had 2 new ones in 1 year. We've had a lot of unusual butterflies here. The zebra longwing from Florida, the banded purple we had here, the Compton tortoiseshell, which if I'd have known, I thought it was a normal sighting back in 2004, and I haven't seen one since. So it has pink on the side, so I didn't know at the time. I was new to this, had no idea what was happening. And then over here, this is for this year, 41 sightings so far, but it's all onesie, twosie, threesie. we're having a very slow year. As I say, the butterfly population is way down. I want to thank our sponsors for today's show. Tom Havorka, Collegeville, PA. Cyril Harding, Chester County. Say hi to Ashley. Lois Vidoc, Exeter Township. Chris and Jeff Octaviano, Sullivan County. Lisa Chermak, Pottstown. George and Joan Wasnock, Pottsgrove. Susan Steyer, Susan Roberts, Liz Greiser, all from Chester County. Thank you so much, everybody. That's going to be pretty much it. We're going to wrap it up. I want to thank Pua Schmidt, my neighbor, for helping us out. And Butterfly Gus, as usual, he's the best. And thanks for joining us for 30th anniversary Pottstown Butterflies.